Welcome back to another episode of Gaining Clarity. I'm not exactly sure what I want to talk about in this episode, to be completely candid. I have a few topics that are circling my mind. My current life situation hasn't really been changing unless I decide to make some changes, which I have been. Slowly but surely I've been making changes in my life to make sure I'm not staying as stagnant or driving myself crazy. You know what? I actually do know what I want to talk about first. So the other day, today is a Monday. So on Friday, I decided to go to a party because it was one of my friend's birthdays, and I was like, all right, let me stop by. I care for this person, so let me show my appreciation for them by showing up to the event that they have organized, right? But I had work the next day at 9 a.m., so I wasn't planning on drinking or anything like that, which I don't think I've ever gone to a party and stayed sober, which is kind of funny to think about. And it was a really interesting experience because at this party in particular, it was kind of at a house that always has organized parties, and this one was different than all the other ones because more people came, and actually more people that I kind of used to know in high school or whatever that I hadn't seen for 2+ years showed up, and it was a trip. And I gained some clarity from that experience, but let me talk about it before we get to that. I'm sober the whole time, right? In the beginning, it's pretty mellow. People are just showing up. And as more and more people come and more the people drink, it's so interesting. And I know many people have talked about this before, seeing drunk people when you're sober is so silly. People act so funny when they're drunk and you're sober. It's so interesting seeing it from an outside perspective. There's this one person in particular, which I'm not gonna say any names or anything, that approached me mid-party. Someone I hadn't talked to. We used to be friends in middle school, but the way she kind of came up to me and started talking to me almost as a buffer, or it could have been genuine. I don't honestly, most of the I'm a very social butterfly. I will go around, I will introduce myself to everybody, I will say hello, make people feel like they know someone there so that they feel comfortable and that they have a friend and that they can talk to someone. I'm that person. I'll go around and try to see what's up, have genuine conversations with people. And I did that to a few people, and there were so many people that I went up to and I was like, hey, how's it going? They just didn't even fake care. They looked like they didn't want to be there. They looked so over it, and I was like, all right, message received, I'm leaving. But a lot of the conversations I had with people I used to know were super just transactional. There was no substance to our conversation. And I was like, wow, I thought that, I wanted to show up for people and see where everyone's been, or a part of myself wanted to kind of prove to other people hey, look, I'm doing well. I feel there's a part of us, especially people in high school, we want to show them that we're doing well and that, our life is going great, almost as a bragging thing. I'm gonna be totally honest, just to be hey, we haven't seen each other in a while, but I'm still just as awesome, maybe even a little more. And so I didn't even feel talking to some of these people because I'm oh no, we didn't vibe in high school and we still don't vibe now. I'm kind of glad, I used to want to be friends with these people, and I'm kind of glad I wasn't, because I have nothing in common with them. And since I was sober, I feel like there were a few people in particular that would just like talk to me and like tell me stuff. People often, just in general, apart from the party, if I'm like silent long enough, people kind of just like say whatever's on their mind to me, and they like spill everything. And so I have all this knowledge in my brain. It's like, why are you telling me this information? I could literally use this against you. Not that I would, but it's really interesting to see how people will open up to you if you just listen. And anyway, I was like the observer at this party, all right? Like, everyone was doing their thing. People were speaking to me. I was like absorbing all this information, and I was literally the observer. I saw everything that was going on. I knew what was happening. Maybe not in all aspects of the party, because there were a lot of people, but like in the certain corner, in the certain space that I contained myself and the people that I was around, like I was just like observing, and it was really interesting, and it made me reflect a lot on where I was putting my energy. You know, in the beginning of these parties, because he like holds one every so often. I think he started in May, I might be wrong, and I went to it because it was like every 2 months, and I was like, okay, cool, like get my little dose of socialness, have some fun. But after a while, it gets really old really quick. And you know, I reflected on that at the last one. I was like, I think I'm good. Like, I don't need to go to any one of these for a while. Like, it was fun for a few times, and now I'm just kind of over it. Like, it's always the same people going there. I already know exactly what's gonna happen, how the night's gonna go down, and like, it's not fun anymore. It's just like, oh, like I could be getting beauty sleep, you know, getting ready for the next day. Like, it was a fun experience at first, but I see no need to repeat those kind of like actions, because like I did it, I gained that experience, I'm ready to move on, which is kind of beautiful. But yeah, that night I was hanging out with my other friend, and I gave her a ride to the party because she was gonna drink. So since I was sober, I was like, hey, I'll give you a ride, blah blah blah. And then I ended up spending time with her afterwards. We just like hung out. I think we left at like 12:30, because I was just like so bored. It's so boring if you're sober. I mean, when you're drunk, I just like, the night goes by so fast and you never want to leave. But I felt like it was going by so slow, and it was so boring, because I mean, I guess the main thing you do at a party is talk to people, socialize. And as the one sober person there, I was actually like realizing that there were no conversations of substance around me. So I was really bored. Like, I didn't want to socialize with any of these people. Like, just keep it simple. Like, it didn't serve me in any way. So I was like, bye, Felicia. And so I hung out with my one friend afterwards, and we got food, and we hung out in the car, and we just talked, and it was nice. But I did feel myself like wanting to leave early, because I was just tired, you know. And afterwards, when I got home, oh my god, the best feeling is when you come home after a long night out, especially if you're sober, or even if you're like sobering up, and it's like the house is quiet, you can do your routine. If you're drunk, it's a different story. You just plop into bed and call it a night. But when you come home, and like I just like did everything so slowly, I was like in no rush anywhere. I was like, I know I have to wake up for work in 6 hours, but I mean, I'm chilling. Like, I feel good. I felt really amazing. I remember I was sitting on the toilet, and I was just like thinking, I was like, wow, I'm happy. I'm so happy to be alone. I don't want to be around anyone else right now. Like, I'm so happy to be alone. Like, my own company. No one's ever gonna see your value or appreciate you more than you ever could. And if someone does, that's amazing. You should cherish those people and keep them in your life. But, you know, at that party, I didn't feel seen or appreciated or valued. Like, my presence. I'm not just talking about like me as a person, you know, like think so highly of me, like think I'm the best or whatever. Like, I just want to be appreciated, that I'm there, I'm trying to have a good time. And I just felt like I wasn't, and that's fine. I don't care. And so I was like, I'm the only person that'll ever truly appreciate and value myself. No one else can do that for me. And I was sitting there and thinking that, and I was like, wow, I was really looking for some sort of validation from these people, like for the last few months by going to these things, not gonna lie. And today I realized that they're not gonna give me that. Only I can. And I feel so much better making that realization. And I've known this because I kind of like, what is it called? Not went off the grid. I kind of just like disappeared for, I don't know, a year or two. Like, I deleted my old Instagram, so I had no connections with people that used to go to my school. Like, I kind of just did my own thing, and I did not care at all because I knew that those people didn't add any value to my life. And not to say that like I hate them or I don't like them, like it's whatever. They just don't serve a purpose in my life, which is totally fine. And the quicker you realize it, the less torture you'll put yourself through, because if you're constantly trying to get on the same level as them when you know you're not, like it's just gonna be, you're just gonna torture yourself. And so I decided, like, when this party popped up and it was seeing people from my old school again, I was like, oh cool, let's see what it's about. And I thought that, you know, since I've been back home for about a year now, I've kind of like gotten used to the town and like, yeah, searching for validation within the people in that town. And I don't know how I want to explain this. Even talking about this is making me exhausted. But yeah, to sum it all up, I realized that my energy wasn't going where I wanted it to. I could have been saving this energy for myself. And after that, it was a very draining experience. And on top of only getting 6 hours of sleep, I felt super tired and exhausted the next day at work. Like, in the beginning, I was fine, because, you know, when you wake up off of a few hours of sleep, you're like, okay, let's get this bread. Like, I was fine. I was rolling. I was chillaxing. But then towards the end of the shift, I was just like, you know, when you interact with so many people in your day, you're doing an energy exchange, you know? And it's very important that you take time to recharge in the ways that you need to. And for me, it's being alone. I love being social. I am equally an introvert as much as I am an extrovert. Sometimes I need to socialize to recharge myself. But after I do that, ironically, I need to be alone to recharge. And so yesterday I decided to go to the beach by myself, hence the sunburn, just to spend time alone because I needed it. I really did. I've needed it for a while now. I don't think, you know, since I can't be alone in my home anymore. I mean, right now I am, which is great, but it's a rare occurrence that I have this space to do nothing and be with myself and my thoughts. And, you know, when I record a podcast episode or I record a video of some sort, that's also a form of me in my alone time and recharging. Because, for example, this podcast episode is me of speaking out loud how I'm feeling, what I want to change, what I want to do. It's almost as if I'm manifesting it because, you know, I value communication a lot and I believe that my words are extremely powerful. And so when else do I have the chance to speak out loud than in a podcast episode? Other than speaking to myself, driving in the car. I do it quite often. But it's moments like these that I really value. And so when I went to the beach yesterday, it was almost like extra self-care. I was spending quality time with myself, which is so amazing. I was at the beach for like 3 hours. I spent time in the water. I swam. I sat. I journaled. I read. It was beautiful. And I reflected on my alone time. And I even wrote a little something about it. And I posted it on Instagram. I said, what does it mean to be alone? Does it mean feeling lonely? Feeling a physical lone presence? The longing for someone to accompany you? Because I feel like a lot of the times people are afraid of being alone because they don't want to be lonely, or they feel like they can't do things alone They need someone to do it with them. Which, for me, it's hard to talk on account of other people because I believe that, maybe some people function better with the help of other people alongside them. But I think once in a while we should all challenge ourselves to do stuff alone. It can be an extremely enlightening experience. You learn so much about yourself, the way you are, especially when it's far from home or you don't know anybody. You learn so much about yourself, like how you react to situations. You learn how to respond to situations. I can't think of anything else right now, but you get the picture. Let me finish this. Does it mean renewal? An act of kindness towards oneself to shed the happenings of the past. When I wrote those 2 little paragraphs, I was kind of looking at it from the perspective of duality, like being alone, feeling lonely, or a chance to rebirth, recharge yourself. It's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. How do you see it? How you choose to see it is how it'll be applied to your life. You can use it as an empowering moment or one that'll beat you down. And then I wrote this last paragraph because it was kind of a reflection of the last 2 days. What if we love the presence of others, but function best when left alone? Only then can we show up as the best versions of ourselves for the collective, or the ones we love. So that last one was kind of just like, I love being around people, but, in order to show up for those people that I do love, I need that time to be by myself and reevaluate everything going on around me in my life. See where I need to give more of my energy. Oh my God. I just got goosebumps. I just saw a strike of lightning right in front of me. That was absolutely beautiful. Oh my God, I have goosebumps. I think that was like an affirmation. In order to show up for the people I love, I need to spend time alone and evaluate where I need to put more of my energy and where I need to put less of my energy, to keep it simple. Also, just take like a moment of peace. If we're constantly in movement, not to say that stagnation is any better. You need a balance of both. It's all about balance. It's all about balance, baby. But I think where a lot of us, including myself, fail is we choose to take the path of balance, but then the scale becomes a little uneven. We put more attention into one thing than the other, forgetting to acknowledge one more than the other, which I definitely do. I struggle from an all or nothing mindset, but I'm learning. And this last weekend was definitely something that taught me another lesson about my all or nothing mindset. And it taught me that I know what's best for me. I will always know what's best for me. I'm kind of happy that I had that last experience because I don't think I'll be going to another one of those in a while. In fact, I don't know if I'll ever go again. And that's fine. I know a few people in my life who struggle to do things alone, or they feel lonely easily. Oftentimes I try to stray away from giving them advice on it because I love my alone time. I love being alone. Not to say that, sometimes I do feel lonely and I would love to have someone, but I love being alone. So who am I to give someone who struggles with that advice when they might not like it? Maybe that's not how they function. I mean, I think there is some value within what I say, and people can definitely take it with a grain of salt in the ways that they need. But I mean, I will say this, all right? I do believe that spending time alone is beneficial to everyone. You learn so much about yourself. And it's, even if you hate it, it's a challenge. Take it as a challenge. Push yourself. It's easy for me to say because it is easy for me to be alone. But I can understand why people are adamant to the idea of being alone. I want to move on from this topic because I feel like I've said what I needed to say and I don't want to over-explain. Oh my god, I just saw another strike of lightning. Oh, I love when that happens. It's like affirmations from nature. They're like affirming what I'm saying. It's like, yes, Clara, I agree. I have like a list on my phone for podcast episode ideas, and I'm just like looking through it, and over here I have written all or nothing mindset, doing the hard work to reap the rewards, you have all the answers you need, and how to find your answers. I think since I'm sort of like in that realm, I'm gonna touch upon the topic of having everything within you. You have all the answers within yourself. You already know everything that you need to know. It's just a matter of finding it through the choices you make. Let me say that again. Let me reiterate. You have everything within yourself, all the answers you need. It's just a matter of what action you choose to take in order to reveal the answers you're looking for. You can't find anything outside of yourself. You can find tools to help you uncover it within yourself. I don't mean that you can't learn anything from anyone else, any other place. I just mean that all of us as individuals will always have our own opinions on everything. No one can tell you how to think. No one can tell you how to act. Only you can decide that for yourself. And a lot of us are very confident in this. We know it's like, just think about it. Extreme leftists, extreme right, whatever, people attacking each other because they have their own strong opinions. But once we realize that, like, all we need is our own kind of answer, like, I don't know if I'm saying this the way I want to. I think maybe I'm getting to the topic of authenticity. Everything you need is within yourself. Once you, find what you look like as your most authentic self, the more you start to realize that you don't have to look for the answers anywhere outside of yourself. Because I think that if you're always your most authentic self, then the answers will come to you from you. I mean, they can come from other sources, but it's those sources of inspiration that spark those revelations within us, if you think about it. I could be wrong. My back hurts. I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm only 20. I still have so much to learn. But this is what I've gained so far from my own life experiences. And I think it could help people out there because not a lot of us voice our experiences, but in reality, we're all going through a lot of the same things, which I think is so beautiful. A lot of us share such similar experiences, but on the other hand, more than half the world, is going through something completely different in their own way. So I think there's so much value to be gained from listening to other people's experiences. Now that I'm speaking out loud and I've said all this, I think I'm really satisfied with this episode. And I know it's a shorter one, but I think I've said what I need to say. And I don't want to force anything else. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap this up. And I hope you all have a beautiful week. And I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one and gained some clarity. Bye.